Hi, this is Vikas Singh from Horizon, and today's video I'm going to show you the installation and configuration of scvmm, which is Microsoft Virtual Machine Manager 2012 R2. So if you need our help to set up a System Center Virtual Machine Manager for you, you can contact us. Our highly technical engineers are there to help you. So like VMM you can use the manage your Hyper-V infrastructure, Hyper-V clusters, and also you can create a public and private cloud by using a System Center Virtual Machine Manager. So let's move. So in this video we are going to focus on installation and configuration of Virtual Machine Manager 2012 R2. So here is our infrastructure which we are going to use in this demo environment. So I have two virtual machines. So the first machine is my Active Directory server. Here you can see the server name is win2k12 dc01, which is basically Active Directory server, and domain name is horizon.co. If you want to see, here is my machine. So the first machine is running Active Directory and DNS role. If you go to local server, you can see win2k12 dc01, the IP address of this machine and domain name. So this is the Active Directory domain server. And the second machine we have a VMM server where we are going to install the virtual machine manager and configure the virtual machine manager on this machine. So this machine is also running Windows Server 2012 R2, and the IP address is 192.168.1.253, and I have joined this machine in horizon.co domain. If you go here, you can see operating system Microsoft Windows Server 2012 R2, 16 gig of RAM, and you can see the machine is joined in horizon.co domain, and I have logged in with the domain account which is VMM admin. If you want to check, you can go here, and if you should type VMI, it will give you the name of the account and domain name, which is horizon.co, and the account name is VMM admin. Also, if you want to see here, you can see the biz info is running, and you can see login domain is horizon and username is VMM admin and the server name, IP address, configuration. So we are good to go, and now we can move to the next slide, which is step-by-step VMM 2012 R2 installation. So you can see the first task which we need to do: rename the Windows Server 2012 machine and join in domain and restart. So we have already done this. You can see the machine is already in domain, so we are good to go, and we have logged in by the domain account. And so the second task is basically which we need to perform is install and configure SQL Server 2012. So what I'm going to do, so you can see I have mounted the SQL Server 2012 installation media and a DVD drive, and I'm going to launch the installation for the SQL Server. Just wait for a few seconds to get the SQL Server installation wizard. So you can see SQL Server 2012 Service Pack 1 is running. So here we need to click on install and new SQL Server standalone installation or add a feature. So click on this, and this will launch the pre-request check for SQL Server on this particular server. It will verify all the prerequisites is installed and configured correctly. Then we can follow the installation wizard. So you can see it's running the pre-request check. Like we have a local administrator rights on this machine, and computer don't have any restart pending. And also we have to verify like .NET 3.5 Service Pack 1 or the latest version of .NET framework is installed on your machine. So we can see everything is passed. We can go to go, click on OK. And now you can see the setup is started, and we are going to install it. Like if you are doing in production, you can put the key here for SQL Server, and as this is a demo environment, I'm going to use the evaluation mode. So click next. I accept the license for terms, click next, and now it's going to copy the installation files to the local installation drive. Now it's again checking the pre-request and everything seems passed. We have a few warning like for make sure the firewall ports is enabled for SQL Server. So good to go. Click next. Now we have installation rules. So install SQL Server features and click next. Now we need to select the feature which you may need to run the VMM. So for this we need to install a database engine, which is SQL Server database services, and we can also install a management tool, and we need SQL Server client connectivity SDK, and we basically need these three components, and click next. Now let's check few prerequisites. Everything seems passed. Click next. And now we have an instance name. I'm going to use the default instance name, which is MS SQL Server. Click next. Now it's going to check the free space in our C drive, local installation drive. So everything passed. It's having the enough space. Click next. Now we need to put the credential to run the SQL Server services. So I'm going to use my VMM admin account to run both SQL Server services. So I'm going to make this automatic for client also. So I'm going to put credential for VMM admin and click next. And finally we are on SQL Server configuration wizard. I'm going to use the Windows authentication method to authenticate this SQL Server. So I'm going to use add my current user account to give the SQL Server administrator rights. So you can see specify SQL Server admins. So I'm going to add this VMM admin. So click next. Now we are good to go. Click next, and we are ready to install basically. So everything is passed successfully, and click next. Now you can see what is the summary what we are going to do. So you can see ready to install SQL Server 2012, and this is the summary what we are going to do during this installation. So click on install to begin the installation for SQL Server 2012. So it will take some time to get the installation done for SQL Server. So we can jump to next step, which is basically we need to perform an Active Directory server, which is create VMM container in Active Directory. So I'm going to do this fourth step now, and then we will back and we'll do the ADK installation. So I'm going on my Active Directory server and going to launch the ADSI edit tool. Right click on it and click to connect to, and I'm going to leave the default of everything. So it's going to connect basically LDAP, which is running on this server itself, on the default naming constant. Click OK. Now you can see we are connected with this domain, which is origin.co, and I'm going to create here new container and object, and we have to select container here. So I'm going to call this container VMM, or you can call it scvmm. Click next and finish, and now you can see we have scvmm container here, and I'm going to give the permission proper rights to my this VMM server and VMM user account to read and write, basically full control. So right click on this scvmm container, and we need to go to properties, and here we have a security option. I'm going to click on this and click on add, and the first thing I'm going to add my computer account, which is scvmm. So I'm going to type into K12 VMM01. You can see the computer is found and it's added. So I'm going to click here and going to give the full control. Same I'm going to do for scvmm user account, which is svmm admin. going to give the full control to this account also. And if I click on advanced, we need to make sure like these two accounts have full rights to this object and all dependents. So I'm going to click on edit. I'm going to click here and this object and all at sub object basically, so it's going to get the rights on all the things. So apply, and same I'm going to go do for this VMM admin also. So click on edit and all child object, apply. So we have given this permission to on this scvmm container to this computer account and VMM admin, so we are good to go. And now we have to wait for few minutes here to get the installation done for SQL Server. Then we can do some post configuration and then we can move to this Windows ADK 8.1 installation. So now SQL Server installation is completed, everything looks good and succeeded. So go ahead and close this. Now we can go and open SQL Server Management Studio to verify the installations and click connect the local server name. Here you can see we have connected and we have some like system database. And now I'm going to configure memory option. Here I'm going to give 100 like you can say 2 gig minimum, and the maximum memory I'm going to give it like 10 gig. So click apply and we are good to go now. So I'm going to close this, and SQL Server also we don't need this anymore. I'm going to close, and now we can move to next, which is install Windows ADK 8.1. So I have mounted the ADK installation media in my C drive on my D drive, so I'm going to launch it. And here you can see the Windows Assessment and Deployment Toolkit for 8.1. Click next. Now I have a customer experience. I'm not going to participate. Click next, and I accept the license terms. And now we have a multiple thing here. So what we need only two things here: the deployment tools and the Windows pre-installation environment. So I have selected these two options, and now going to click on install to run the installation for these two features. So it's going to take few seconds to get the installation done. So the installation is completed. So go ahead and close this, and now we are good to go and run the final step, basically which is going to initiate the VMM installation. So I have mounted the VMM installation media in my D drive, so I'm going to launch it. System Center Virtual Machine Manager, click yes. Now I'm going to click on Virtual Machine Manager installation to run the installation for Virtual Machine Manager server. So now we can select the VMM management server, and you can see if I select the VMM management server, it's automatically going to install a VMM console also. So good to go. So here you can see the few features as required. SQL Server database and Windows Assessment 8.1 is required. So we have already done this, so go ahead and click next. Now you can put the name, and if you are going to install in production, you need to put the product key here. So click next, and I accept the license terms. Click next, and now we have to select this. So I'm going to not participate in customer experience improvement program. So click next, and now we have a Windows update for this VMM, so I'm going to use the on, which is recommended. Click next, and we have a path where this installation is going to be done. So in a C drive, leave the default, click next. Now you can see we have a database configuration. So in this scenario, we are going to use the database on this machine itself. So if you are using the any remote SQL Server instance, then you need to make sure you have enabled the correct firewall ports, SQL ports in your firewall to allow the communication between VMM and SQL Server, and you have given also the correct permission on the SQL server to VMM account to create an database. So we're good to go. If I click here next, you can see it's going to automatically take this MS SQL instance. So the database name is going to be a virtual machine DB. So click next. Now we need to provide this account, so I'm going to give here like my origin account, origin VMM admin, and the password for this account. And now I'm going to store my Active Directory, my keys in Active Directory, which is going to be a distribution key management. So when you are going to promote this as a failover mode, so you must need to select this distributed key management. So I'm going to use this for now. Click next. Now you can see the ports configuration which VMM is going to use. So these are the ports, so we are good to go, and click next. So it's going to create a library. If you don't want to create a library currently, you can if you have any existing library, you can go and select this, and if we don't have, you can go and create the new library. So I'm going to click next with the new library, and here is the thing what we are going to do. So like we are going to install a management server console, the installation path, the database information which we are going to create, the service account for this VMM basically, and we have a configuration ports which we are going to use, and library server, and using the Windows updates. Yes, so click on install to begin the installation. So this installation is going to take like 10 to 15 minutes, so we need to wait for it. So I'm going to pause the recording for now. Once the installation is done, we'll write back and we'll verify the last step, which is login and verify the virtual machine manager installations. So I'm going to pause the recording here. So now you can see the VMM's management server installation is completed. It's installing the VMM console now. So now if I go to add and remove program, you can see the VMM is installed. So we have lots of things, and we have also virtual machine manager, so it will take some time to come here. So now you can see we have a Microsoft System Center 2012 R2 Virtual Machine Manager, which is just installed, and now you can see we have all done and setup is completed successfully. We have installed VMM Management Server and VMM Console. So now we can go and verify, login and verify the Virtual Machine Manager. So I'm going to uncheck this both, close, and we can close this also. So if I now refresh it, can see this, and I'm going to close this. Now if I launch the virtual machine manager console, you can see which on this port this is going to connect on 8100 port. So I'm going to click on connect. It will use my Windows session, which is VMM admin, and I have a full rights on my VMM admin on my System Center Virtual Machine Manager. So click on connect. And now you can see we have a cloud. We can create a cloud, and we can create a network storage also. We have everything. And now if I go here on servers, you can see on infrastructure we have a library server. This is responding as a library and VMM server. And also if I go here VMM server, you can see this server is also responding, and this is a library and VMM server role. So this is all about the installation and configuration of System Center Virtual Machine Manager 2012 R2. So if you need our help in configuring these things, you can contact us. Our contact details is given in below description. So thank you once again. Bye bye.